Massive Padres trade incoming. A report from Sports Illustrated reveals some pretty wild details, though. They think the Padres are going to wind up getting fleeced. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much to tuning into the show where I, just a random dude on the internet, opine, whine, over, underreact. We just talk Padres. If you could hit the subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. If not, no worries. Why, though, are we talking about non-Padres here? Trades, fleecing, issues, reports, negativity, positivity. Let's break it all down. This video is going to maybe be a summary recap of where we are at in the Padres trade saga or ongoing rumor mill discussions of who's going to be the solution. Primarily, all of these are discussions, I'd say 99-1 of left field versus anything else. Some of these guys are DHE things. We have a couple of free agent videos. We have a bunch of deep dives on each of the guys that I'm going to discuss. But right now, I think there's enough names floating out there and enough teams and permutations that I wanted to just kind of recap where I see all the different ideas and discuss a little bit why this guy from Sports Illustrated is saying he thinks the Padres are going to wind up, according to his words, quote, overpaying. Let's break it down. The most recent one of all, but you know what? Let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the first one that I brought up was Kyle Stowers. He is a Miami Marlin. This is how he is hitting as of right now. As of right now, I think that we have an okay left field with Tyler Wade, Gavin Shildt. It's a platoon job. It's a weird who can hit well for 2 or 3 games at a time. We don't have an option. The Padres need to go get a left fielder. So anybody to me who is hitting 250 and above is considered an upgrade. Some people more of an upgrade than others. 272 is fantastic, whatever. Compared to 250, it might not be elite, but I like the 10 home runs. That means there's a little bit of pop in this bat. He is, to me, one of the interesting options because he's one of those guys who falls into the category, I think, personally, of being affordable at his age 27 season right now. His payroll is very low. He is pre-arbitration. So that, there's some team control here. So he's going to command a return, but this is not a guy who is looking at demanding, like, this is not 6 or 7 prospects and cash and all of that kind of stuff to get rid of it. Like I said, we've got a whole deep dive on, I think, how he fits, and there's some other permutations where, like, maybe Sandy Alcantara, Padres can also make some other, there are other things, but to me, just it's the vision of let's talk about the left fielders involved in each one of these deals. Another one that we have talked about a little bit is the Baltimore Orioles as a whole team in totality of the Baltimore Orioles. There are different people who can be in different camps on what they want. Here are Cedric Mullins' stats. The 233 is way down from where he has been in his career as an all-star. I think that makes him very movable. The 10 home runs is nice. And again, that clears that threshold to me that, like, okay, 230 maybe isn't that huge an upgrade over anybody that we have in left, but he's doing it with some pop. So if we have him as this will be like, he'll still be our 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th hitter. Like having our left field go from 2 home runs cumulatively to 10 home runs type of hitting from one person is the upgrade in there. And also, he is one of those guys who falls very much under the guys of, a 1-year rental, or not even a 1-year rent, like a one stretch rental guy. This is where Mullins is at. I think that, yes, that is a larger sum of cash that the Padres potentially have to eat. But again, this is somebody where team control, aligns with the interest of wanting to get rid of him or get something in return for him if he is just going to walk. Another person as we move forward on all of this that we have discussed about, because again, like I said, we have in-depth videos on all these. Austin Hayes from the Cincinnati Reds, and Austin Hayes is one of the people specifically mentioned in some of these recent Sports Illustrated articles about being somebody who they think that the Padres might end up overpaying for. So let me bring up Hayes' stats here for you. Stats first and then contract. He is hitting a significant increase at that 303 mark. He's having a great year. The Reds are a team that is willing and ready to dish him. he maybe falls into the more expensive end. Like I said, some of these guys are at different phases of affordability, and definitely things that we can all have a discussion in the comment section about who's really worth what, yada, yada, yada. Like some of you people think that some of our prospects are worth a ton more than they are or are not relative to where everybody else thinks. This is what we're talking about contract-wise for Hayes. This year is kind of like split the difference between Stowers and Mullins with the payroll. But next year, that mutual option is a big one. I think mutual options are things that still, to me, feel like the understanding is it'll somehow, like, we're not going to both pick this up. We're going to see where we're at the end of the year, kind of feel each other out. Did this work? Did this not work? And then make a best case for all decisions. But usually, even that we take that best case for all, it's a restructuring of a more long-term decision to stay. But Hayes could be one of the ones where Padres are going to have to, if that's what AJ thinks is the right move. The market right now is dictating that that's going to be an expensive deal. And so, again, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think in terms of relative value and all these guys. But some of this, what does overpaying even look like? Because to me, Salas, you can't dish him. He's on the IL. LDV maybe is the only thing that I would really say is overpaying unless we're talking about depth of assets given out. So I think that I do believe that the Padres can hypothetically overpay for some of these, but I don't see us overpaying for too many of these options unless other teams get involved in the bidding. And you know what? That's baseball. We're going to probably get kind of played into one another. It happens. Okay, fine. Last player to talk about on this video that's been making the recent rounds is Jarren Duran, the Boston Red Sox guy, who is better stats, steals bases defensively than just gets shown here. He is a guy who is a plus, again, to the team and is under another one of those scenarios where it's a little bit more manageable team options type of control. So he is another one that I think is with Austin Hayes of being perceived as the Padres are in big on him, and he's going to be the fix. So this team's going to be able to, the Red Sox or the Reds going to be able to really squeeze the Padres here. So in summary of looking at these four guys / the grander options where the Padres are at, I don't think there is any one out there that is the magic fix where it's like, oh, you can place the future of the franchise. You can leverage that on this guy because that unlocks the rest of this. So to me, unless it's LDV, I don't think it is an overpayment unless it's a ton of prospects or something like that. I don't see any major league, like you're not going to trade Manny or Nando or any of those guys. If you can dish Xander, great, but the contract, I just don't see how that works. So to me, it's a question of pitching, prospects, money, of course. So just where does the overpay come in all of that for relative to what we were talking about? We got, like I said, we got Stowers, we got Mullins, we've got Duran, we've got Hayes. Those are the four main ones, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in terms of, in totality, the Padres prospects of even fixing the left field situation with what we have available to trade versus what we are potentially seeking, who you might think could be an option. Like I said, we've got some on the other free agents and a couple of other trade ideas. There's Luis Roberts with the White Sox. There's a lot of other options out there that are on the horizon and could be a great idea for the Padres. But again, like I said, there's reports circulating that whatever it is, the Padres are maybe going to get squeezed by the league and potentially have to give up a little bit more than it's worth in value. So I'm curious if you guys even think a trade ends up being worth it for what we would have to potentially give up. Until next time, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. We'll talk to you guys soon.